So today we are going to study about the foreign exchange rate, and in these days we are seeing that the rupee is continuously falling against the US dollar. Okay, and it has reached about 95 rupees for $1. It means that you have to pay 95 rupees to get $1. Okay, and this is continuously depreciating. Depreciating means that you have to pay more rupees to get that single dollar. Okay, for example, if I say that rupee is depreciating, it means that it is depreciating below 19, okay, sorry, 95, like 100 rupees for $1. It means that when we are saying that rupee is depreciating, it means that we have to pay the larger number of rupees to get that single dollar. Okay, and when we are saying that there is appreciation in the currency, it means that we have to pay less rupee to get that $1. Okay, and if you are first timer who is studying this, that how the foreign exchange rate works and how we can understand this, that why there is so much depreciation in the Indian rupees. Okay, so let's first of all understand in very brief how these exchange rate works. Okay, foreign exchange rate. See, why we need forex exchange? Because we are living in today's world in a globalization. Okay, so in the globalization, every country, maybe it India, US, China, okay, European Union countries, UK, so all the country trade with each other. Okay, and there is this interconnected web through which we manage the financial flow of the currency. Okay, so for example, you are buying something from UK. Okay, I'm just trying to tell you that why foreign exchange rate is very important. Okay, so to make that balance between the currencies, between the economies. Okay, so that's why it's very important to have a foreign exchange rate. If we talk about that UK and India, okay, for example, from UK you bought a car. Okay, and in the UK the cost of that particular car was, let's say, 10,000, okay, pound. Okay, and when that car reached in Indian market, you cannot sell this car in pounds. Okay, and you said that, okay, so this is for the 10,000 pounds. Okay, here the currency is Indian have only rupees. So to make this balance, okay, and this balance is based on the capacity or the strength of that currency, or the strength of the economy. Okay, this exchange rate is depend. Now when this car is coming to the Indian market, okay, here a person, let's say Ram want to buy this car. Okay, and he knows that the cost of that particular car is 10,000 pounds, sorry. Okay, because it is coming from England. Okay, and now when it reached the Indian market, so he have to figure out that how much rupees I have to pay that is equal to this 10,000 k pound. Okay, to get this car. Okay, so he should know about that. He had to pay for example, he have to know the unit, that for 1 pound how much rupee I have to pay. So here, to to solve this problem in everywhere, so we need this foreign exchange rate. It's not just about the UK I'm talking about, it's particularly for all the countries with which we trade. Okay, so through this we share the things with other countries and we contribute in the mutual trade agreements, all the things. Okay, so now for example, now understand that what types of foreign exchange rates are there. So there are broadly three type of foreign exchange rate. It's not like that these are the only specific which should be followed. Okay, these are just the general classification. Okay, first one is free float. Okay, so what does mean this free floating? Okay, free floating means that, for example, the two currencies, for example rupee or US dollar, okay, these are not managed by any central bank or any kind of the agency. They are just, their values as compared to relatively to each other is determined by the market forces. Okay, so where the market forces are dominated on the currency exchange rate, okay, that is called free floating. Means that nobody is regulating the currency's value, okay, against other value, other rupees or other kind of currency, okay. So if we talk about the free floating currency or free floating exchange rate, which country follow that? That is the USA. Okay, most prominently you can say US, or most liberal country of the Western sphere. Okay, and then we talk about the fixed exchange rate. Fixed exchange rate. See, in fixed exchange rate, you tell the other nations, okay, for example, China. So China have said to other countries that, okay, so if you want me to, trade with you, so this is my value, okay. China will fix their currency value against the US dollar, okay, against the euro, okay, any other currency, okay, against. So it means that here you have certainty. So you have seen that major of the companies go to the China. Why? Because there is certainty. In free float, there is the risk of this supply chain and any kind of threat happen in the global issue, okay, so that will threat your currency's value. So major of the companies, to get the stability or get the stable market benefit, move toward the China, okay. So this is the reason, because China will not, for example, if the Chinese currency today, uh, for example, 15, okay, renminbi is, or Chinese currency is equal to 1 US dollar, okay. So China's government will say that, okay, so we have ensured that we have fixed this rate, okay. So all the major company will say, okay, we can go to this market, at least if we are getting less money here, but it is certain, it is definite, it is stable, okay. So major companies move toward this country. So in this way, if we talk about the China, so there is another issue we must focus upon also. So that is, if you want to be the country which want to fix its exchange rate with other countries, so you must have large foreign exchange reserve, okay. And right now the China has largest foreign exchange reserve, because to dilute your currency and to raise your currency, okay, you have to sell or buy the foreign exchange reserve, okay. You have to sell or buy another currency or anything else which increase or decrease the value of your currency with another currency, okay, to make it stable, okay. So you must have the larger foreign exchange reserve. And third one is managed, okay, managed exchange rate. See, if you say that which kind of the exchange rate is followed by India, that particularly fall in this bracket, it does not mean that RBI completely manage. No, RBI will interfere in the rupee stability and destability, and how the it is appreciating or depreciating, okay, when there is need. Okay, so for example, if the rupee is falling like 96 rupee for $1, okay, and if RBI with the regular monetary committee, okay, their meetings, they regularly decide that what should be the threshold, okay, how we should take the decision. So for example, in this time, this rupee is freely, getting exchanged with the US as per the market forces. So at that point, when this rupee reached the 100 rupee for $1, so at that time RBI will think, now it is too much, okay, we cannot get our currency to be depreciated in that level, okay. So in that point of time, RBI can interfere, okay. So this is the type of foreign exchange rates. So now understand that how the RBI manage all these things, okay. When we will understand these things, that how RBI manage exchange rate, okay. See, for example, before you understand that how the RBI manage the exchange rate, you understand a basic fact, which is a trade basic fact, okay. For example, what if I ask you that how you can decide the particular thing's value? For example, it is X, for example, it is a phone, okay, an Apple phone. So when there is high demand for a particular thing, be it anything, okay, maybe phone, currency, or whatever else, okay, when there is demand for a particular thing, it means that the value of that thing will rise. The same concept you have to apply here, supply and demand, okay, supply and demand. This is the basic economics formula you must understand, okay. So supply and demand said that if the demand for the dollar in the market or in the Indian market is increasing, it means that people are ready to give up their rupee which they hold, okay, and exchange that with the dollar. So at that point of time, it means that if the dollar demand is increasing, okay, they need, everybody needs dollar, okay, so it means that this dollar will appreciate. And in reverse order, for the another currency with respect to this dollar, for example here rupee will decrease or depreciate against the dollar, okay. So these two phenomena move together. If for example, and now, so this is the simple phenomenon, okay, I have told you this thing. Now understand this, how the RBI manage exchange rate. For example, first, when rupee is depreciating, okay, so like in these days rupee is depreciating against the US dollar. For example, rupee has reached from 9 to 96 rupees for $1, okay, in the past few months. So this continuously rise for the value of dollar as compared to the rupee. We have to give more rupee for to get that $1, okay. So it means that rupee is depreciating. So in this case, let's understand first why the depreciation should be controlled, okay. Then if you know that why depreciation should be controlled, then you will easily know that how RBI control it, okay. Depreciation, see what does the depreciation means. Depreciation means that you have to pay more rupee to get that constant dollar, for example that $1 or $2, whatever, okay. So now in this case, what will happen, export will rise, okay, export will rise. But when we talk about the import will decrease, okay. Why so? See, for example, earlier, this is our India, okay, and from here this is US, okay. Earlier, for example, we used to sell a particular mobile phone from India to US, and in the US, okay, that you, for example in India when we are exporting, it is, for example, uh, you can say for example it is of 500 rupees, okay. And for 500 rupees, simply I'm assuming that earlier you have to pay, you can say, uh, $6, okay. In US you have to pay to this mobile phone if you want to buy it in the US, okay. And there is no tariff. In this condition, don't assume the tariff and non-tariff things, okay. We will discuss that in the later, that will make the things more complex. Just simply understand it, how the things work, okay. See, so the things that this phone will go from India to the US market. In India, its price is 500 rupees, and when it will reach in the US market, its cost in the parallel through the exchange rate is $6. Okay. And now when there is the depreciation in the rupee, so it means that now you have to pay less dollar to get the same rupee. Okay. For example, now when the rupee is depreciating, means now 100 rupees means $1, okay. In this point of time, this price will decrease. When the price will decrease, you know that, so it will be $5. Now the demand for this particular product in the US market will increase, okay. So this is the benefit of why the depreciating currency is good, why the China always pegged their currency very low as compared to the US dollar. So this is the reason, so their product will be in the huge demand in the US market, okay. And this is simple economic principle. When we know that when the price of a particular quantity fall, okay, particular item fall, the demand for that things with the same quality increase, okay. And in its reverse order, you can say import. For example, earlier you have to spend only 500 rupees to get the things of 600 done, okay. Now you have to increase your value, okay, as because you have to give more rupees to get that $1 item, okay, from other market. So these are the things. So now understand how the RBI manage all these things. See, I told you simple concept. What was it? That the demand of the dollar make it appreciate, and the losing demand or the extra supply of the rupee oversupply, you can say, okay, of rupee. What does this mean? It means that, I'm sorry. So it means that, see, what happened here. So for example, the all the people in the India who are foreign investor, they are demanding that we need our dollar back. Okay. And when we need our dollar back, we will exchange the dollar and rupee. Okay. So rupee will be in huge supply in the market. Okay, there will be large amount of rupees. So RBI do nothing, just pump the more dollar in the market, okay, and sucked all that rupee, which is extra rupee in the market. Okay, why? Because this will create the demand for rupee. Why? Because now there is less rupee available in the market. Okay, so through this, RBI used to manage the depreciation. Okay, in appreciation, if you know how the depreciation work, in the appreciation simply you will also know it. Okay, so in the appreciation you can say that RBI do nothing, they put more rupee on the market. Okay, and suck down the dollar and buy the dollar from the market. Market means from the Indian market, okay, from the banks or from the another things. Okay, and in appreciation you can say we import becomes, okay, import becomes very, you can say, cheap to us because our rupee is rising. Okay, so this is the thing. If let's come to the topic now. Okay, so the topic is that why in these days rupee is falling so fast. Okay, you have understood that how the RBI behaves when the things when our rupee depreciate, and how the RBI behave when our rupee appreciate. Okay, now understand that how in these days what are the conditions. Okay, conditions which is making our rupee depreciating. Okay, so the condition first one is geopolitics. So geopolitics means, you can say, tariff. Okay, because when there is huge tariff, so your export decrease, and when your export decrease and your import is same, and in the country like India where we used to import more as compared to export. Okay, and we have that fiscal trade deficit, sorry, we have that trade deficit. Okay, we have that trade deficit. Okay, it means that we used to import more, means we need more dollar. Okay, and when we need more dollar, it means that we are getting depreciated our currency. Okay, so this is one concept. And second one is war. As you see, the Ukraine versus Russia war. Okay, Iran, Israel, USA in Middle East. Okay, and right now you see Hormuz Strait. Okay, how it is blocked, because of which in the India or other regions, the crude oil supply has been decreased, and because of which its price, you can say, okay, its price is increased. So it means that, for example, earlier India used, I'm giving you a particular example. Okay, for example, earlier a particular person from India used to buy 100 liter of oil from the Middle East, and that was for only or you can say 1,000 rupees. And now, and he is converting these rupees into dollar, because we used to buy the crude oil in dollars. Okay, and now that same liter is for 5,000 rupees, and when you convert into dollar, it means that larger value of the dollar you are now expensing for the particular amount. Okay, for the same amount. And because of the huge import of the crude oil, the demand for the dollar is continuously increasing. I told you, when the demand for the dollar increase, it means that we are appreciating that value for that particular currency. Okay, and in reverse order, the domestic currency is getting depreciated. Okay, so these are the two and three things mostly which influence our trade deficit, or this, the price or the value of our currency. Okay, and third thing, you can say, the simple, okay, deficit. So how we export, how we import, all the things. Okay, so What is the solution to it? See, if we take the look at the solution in the geopolitics, we have to improve our domestic economy strength in the world level as the China has done. Okay, because China has much larger say as compared to India in global market or in global platform. And second one is war or crude oil issue. So renewable energy is the solution to it, so we can decrease our dependence on the crude oil imports. Okay, and we must develop our indigenous technologies because we do not have sufficient technologies to harness all the possible renewable sources. Okay, and nuclear energy is also a possible option to it. Okay, and then we talk about the deficit. So this solution to the deficit is simple: make a country manufacturing hub. Okay, manufacturing hub as the China has done. Okay, they made their country as a manufacturing hub and export as large amount they can to the world. Okay, so same India must also do, like made in India. Okay, startup India, PM Mudra Yojana. Okay, MSMEs. Through all these schemes we are trying to make our export share much larger in the world market. Okay, as your share in the export to the world market will increase. Okay, it means that demand for your currency will also increase in the world market in another currency. Okay, and that will ultimately lead to appreciation to your currency. So at last, it does not mean that appreciating currency is good. No, for a developing country like India, appreciating currency is never a good thing. Okay, because it will harm your export. When the currency is appreciating, it means the things you are producing is very, you can say, expensive in another countries. Okay, so there must be a balance between appreciation and depreciation. So that's why RBI choose this option. Okay, to manage the exchange rate. It manage the currency when it is depreciating, and it manage the currency when it is appreciating. So I hope you understood that why India is for depreciating. Okay, and how all the things works.